All right, welcome back to Problem Solver Politics. I am your host, Cardin Ellis, with Cody the Oracle.
Hey, everybody.
And today we're repping some hats sent to us by none other than our fan, Sun the Yang Australian.
All the way from Australia.
Yeah,
man.
all the way
Shout
from
out.
Australia. The Aussie Yang gang is showing up in force. And check this out. Woo! I mean, that is a hat, Cody. Like the sick embroidery. It's not official Yang Gang merch, but they got the official Yang logo. And dude, I got to tell you, this might be the most convincing argument I've seen about Andrew Yang so far, are these hats. So shout out to Sun, the Yang Australian, for giving us the sick hats.
Yeah, again, we appreciate it very much. Thank you very much. And they're very cool. Shout out to them. Check them out.
Yeah, so anyway, now we got to get back to work. And thank Sun for his hat, which will be repped in public and amongst friends and family. But for now, back to our independent analysis of the Andrew Yang campaign and the election in 2020. So we've gotten this question a lot. DM to us on Twitter. Make sure that you guys follow us on Twitter so you can ask us questions like this. And also in our Twitch live stream, we consistently get asked the question, what about Yang and an independent run? What about Yang and an independent run? I think it's fueled a lot by people generally afraid that he's going to get railroaded like Bernie Sanders did in 2016 by the DNC. And people are almost already, looking for a backup plan, which I think is good human nature. But we're going to present some facts and some quotes out of the mouth of Andrew Yang himself that answers that question about Andrew Yang and whether or not he will and or plans to attempt a third-party run should he get railroaded by the DNC. Cody, can you tell us what is going on?
Yes. I guess, you know what? Should I spoil it immediately? Yeah, I'll spoil it immediately. The answer is no, he will not. Andrew Yang rules out minor party or independent run if he's not the Democratic nominee. I believe this particular article published on in the Washington Post on the 21st of this month, a few days ago. I think he has iterated this in the past, but just again, really quickly to get through what we want to talk about. He says, I would never do anything that would increase the chance of Donald Trump becoming president again. Yang said at the Washington Post live event. The goal is to beat that man and get him out of the Oval Office. So mainly because they basically, to someone's position is, I'm running for president to beat Trump. And so if I have to endorse someone else to beat him, I'll do that. That's going to be what he's saying there. Now, remember, here we go. If you ignore the elephant of automation in the room, believe you're making a grave mistake. If we're stuck chasing immigrants or trade deals while artificial intelligence is about to lead the land, we are sunk. Yang also said, speaking about just why he wants to be president, not just being Trump, I believe. Anyway, he goes on and speaks more and more about this, but talking about the wealth tax.
Okay.
By the way, Yang has a good thing about the wealth tax here. We were going to talk about wealth tax, but yes, this is the spirit of the argument. He said, people will say, but we have to tax wealth. And Yang says, I'm not conceptually against the wealth tax. I certainly don't want us to walk down the road that other countries have walked down and learned hard lessons from. I would not rule it out, but it's not, to me, the first and best choice. Basically, the argument against wealth tax tends to be, we can't implement it.
Yeah.
No, but we have to tax them. Cool, maybe we do, but this doesn't work. We get not enough money, so
yeah,
not going to do it. But anyway, what I wanted to actually get back into is the title of this article and what he says at the beginning here, because as Cardin pointed out earlier, we really do get a lot of questions on our live streams and our chats and stuff. Do you think Yang would run third party? Do you think Yang would run third party? I want to talk about that. Why do so many people want, no one's going to say, if Warren loses, think she'll go third party. And I think people kind of know the obvious reason why the difference between those two, right, is that Yang doesn't necessarily, not in a bad way, but he doesn't feel like, he isn't necessarily a Democrat as far as having experience as a representative. He's never served as Democratic anything, as far as I know.
Yeah, he could have just as easily run as Republican and nobody would have known the difference.
My point being, nothing about his platform necessarily screams he has to be a Democrat.
Yeah.
And there's nothing about his platform that screams he has to be a Republican. There's like Medicare for All in there, and the freedom dividend seems very
but his policies on nuclear energy and basically ripping off a Milton Friedman, Ronald Reagan, and Richard Nixon idea for UBI is wildly Republican.
But that's what kind of made me want to have this video and discuss this stuff. Like I said, the fact that Yang said he's not going to run third party, to be frank, even if he was, he couldn't say he was. While you're running the Democratic primary, you can't say, if I lose, man, the hell with them. I'm running against them as a third party. I believe
Nancy, don't invest in me because I'm 1 foot out the door.
Well, I think Yang signed the document. They're all supposed to sign a document pledging their support to the party, that they will not run against or do anything
which is so creepy to me.
Okay, there is a creepy angle, but it
that
does
is
make
so
sense.
creepy.
It does make
like
sense, you have to admit.
that sounds like a dystopian government. It's like, do you pledge
Okay, but
your allegiance to the emperor?
same thing. It's the same way. Some people say the Pledge of Allegiance sounds creepy. It's like, I know in a certain perspective, but like the
No, but to your
practicality of
people,
what
I have
it
no
is-
problem. But a pledge to a party? See, the Pledge of Allegiance, like I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Here's the
It's an
difference.
inanimate object that is a symbol of your nation, of your people, of your pride. That's so much different than like when you see the kids that were part of the HITLER youth reciting
Why
their,
is it the only thing, the only pool you got? You got one pool you go back to for everything. No, dude.
Fine, the
listen,
Mer Rouge. We
listen,
can talk about the
listen,
Mer
no,
Rouge.
This is what you're missing here, big time, about the Pledge of Allegiance, right? And the pledge they make.
Okay.
The pledge they make is no different than a big time like someone sitting on the board of a company signing a document saying I will not act against the fiduciary
Well, it doesn't
interest of
also
my company.
disincentivize
But
the
no, but-
DNC
no.
from being fair.
No, but what I'm saying
Like,
is
you're not allowed to run against me. You got to do my bidding, B.
it makes sense to cover themselves because get this,
For the DNC.
the only people they're asking to make that pledge are people running to be the Democratic nominee for president. Like, yeah, that's a lot to ask from me. But it's not a lot to ask from somebody who wants to be my nominee for president. You know what I mean? Like, you want to be the Democratic nominee for president? Fine. Just say you're going to support the Democrats no matter who wins. Say you're not going to be a
To me, it
loser.
just shows weakness on behalf of the DNC, that they don't actually think it,
Oh
it makes them look weak. Didn't Republicans do something similar in
So,
2016
hold
when
on.
there was like 14 of those people?
Is this weakness from Trump then? Not Trump. Is this weakness from Yang? Is it weak from Yang to say I won't run third party? I think it's smart, and it just doesn't make sense to run third party.
No,
anyway.
strategic. Yeah, for him, strategically,
No,
it's
but do
not
you- but
smart
do you
to run
think-
third party.
Do you think in any way ever it makes sense to? I think there's no
Dude,
world where you
you
run
know
third
what?
party, in my
I would
opinion.
have to. I guess I would have to sort out my feelings to better articulate what they are. But the short answer is just it seems weird. It seems dystopian. It seems far too controlling. It seems creepy. I don't like that kind of thing. I just don't like it. And the people that engage in that, like swearing your allegiance to something other than just like your country or your God, it just makes me think you're just weird.
I'm pretty sure a lot of companies make their board members or make the people responsible. Like, it's like the people literally have like fiduciary responsibilities to the corporations, where it's like I've pledged my allegiance.
Yeah,
to
but
this
they're getting
corporation in a
compensated
sense.
for it. You want to know what? If the DNC wants to give me $100,000 more for my
They're going
freaking-
to let you represent themselves in the presidential election. That's what.
Yeah,
you
but
get.
it's not like they're giving them money for. I don't know. Look. You asked my opinion.
giving you a shot
My
at being
opinion is the DNC's creepy when they do this, and I think the RNC's creepy when they do it. It's just
Okay.
creepy.
I hear.
You know, here I am
hear
willing
it.
to say that both parties
but
do
I
something
hear
that's
it.
creepy, and I thought the guy who hates both parties would be eating this up. But no, here you are telling I'm wrong. It's like I get screwed no matter
I'm
what.
not saying you're wrong. Like I'm saying, I kind of agree. I hear what you're saying, but I think it applies the same way I look at when people say the Pledge of Allegiance is creepy, and I'm like, I can kind of get that perspective, but in practice, it just kind of isn't that creepy. Like in practice, saying, "Hey, look, if you're gonna run to be our nominee for president, we want you to sign something that says you're not gonna get all this information and stuff from being a part of our party, and then when you lose, turn around and run against us." That's basically what they're saying, which makes sense. Whether you like Democrats, whether you like Republicans or not, it makes sense for a party to cover their bases.
Yeah, but this makes
That's what
sense
it
to me.
is.
Like, for example, first off, statistically, it shows that independents don't really ruin elections or play that spoiler role that everybody fears they're going to play. Like, it's proven basically Ross Perot didn't really spoil any other election, that George Bush Sr. lost his election fair and square. But this is why it makes you look weak. Do you remember when the RNC made Donald Trump sign his pledge not to run third party?
Yeah, like I said,
Do you remember that?
Make people do that.
That in that moment, the RNC literally ceded the fact that, look, we fear you, and we're going to try and use a document and do you remember that? You remember Bane in the movie The Dark Knight?
1000% disagree. But
Okay. Do you remember when the guy walks up and he says, "Hey, you can't do that. I'm in charge here. I'm in charge here." And then Bane walks up to him and says, "Do you you feel in charge? You know what I'm saying?
That's pretty good.
And in that moment, you realized Bane didn't care what agreement there was on paper because he's freaking Bane. And this little weasel in the suit was thinking, oh, I'm in charge because this piece of paper says so. And then Bane just walks in, is like, do you feel in charge? You know, I mean, like, in that moment, the RNC became subservient to Donald Trump and was like that little man, okay, saying, oh, but no, you can't do this. I'm in charge. See this paper? I'm in charge. And then Donald Trump came up and was Bane in that moment, okay? When the DNC makes people
that's the same at all.
How is that not the same?
Because
it shows you this little weasel that's afraid the guy's going to go independent and he's stronger than you.
No, it isn't.
And that he'll be better as an independent brand than as a Republican brand.
Dude, do you know how many companies, like, when you sign on, say, like, hey, there's certain things about our business you're not allowed to say outside, like,
that's a privacy contract. That's a non-disclosure agreement. That's different.
It's not. It's the political version of it is saying, like, hey, don't. Because otherwise, what's to stop someone from running for president for a party and then just sabotaging them, dropping out, and running against them? That basically just covers your bases. It's not, you're not asking a lot. You're saying, okay, you really want to be the Republican nominee for president? Then just sign a piece of paper saying you're going to try to help the Republicans win.
Okay, you know what?
That's it. Same thing with Democrats. Hey,
Fine.
You want to represent the Democrats in a presidential election? Just sign this piece of paper that says you're going to help Democrats. And Yang's saying that. But
I just feel it makes them look weak. That's it. I've said my piece. You don't have to agree with me. I just think it makes the people requiring that signature look weak.
I hear like you said, it's not a good look. Like you have to promise you won't leave. But I just from like if I was a political party, I would definitely make people running I would make them do that because. Yeah, big time. You have to cover yourself in that way. You can get bad things can happen, man. When people who know about your inner workings suddenly don't like you anymore and are able to turn against you. It's a lot of companies do when they fire people. You're not allowed to say bad things about the company, but we'll pay you money. It's common in business. I don't see why it wouldn't be common in politics. Maybe my problem is I'm such a soulless sellout. It just doesn't even strike me as odd. I'm like, yeah, what's the big deal?
Hey, we took off the math hats. We're not soulless sellouts.
Well, before that, you know what I mean? Like, because like I said, I have very little. What's the word I'm looking for? Like, people in politics, I wouldn't put anything past them ever. So the notion of them saying like, hey, you got to sign this document that says you can't drop out or run against us, totally makes sense to me. But again, with Yang, I want to get back. We kind of got off topic there. But with Yang, I thought which just fascinated me. Why I wanted to bring this article up. Because that way, it's mostly just kind of going through some of his questions, the article itself. But this notion that there really is a lot of people that ask, specifically with Yang, too. Would he run third party? Would he go independent? Would he make some move? And I think it really just kind of speaks to the kind of candidate he is, where he doesn't really necessarily feel like someone who belongs necessarily 100% with any party. And I think it's kind of where the excitement for Yang is coming from is, hey, who is this guy that could kind of, you know, like it doesn't feel like you can put him in a box.
There's that ambiguity there.
It's
like,
very interesting.
For example, it's like when Victoria's Secret started using all the Brazilian models. One of the big reasons why they were so successful and so popular was because there was that racial ambiguity there. You know, you could have, you know, just your traditional white suburban mom looking at that catalog. You could have an African American. You could have a Latina. You could have a Hispanic. You could have all kinds of different people looking at that catalog thinking like, oh, okay, that could work on me, because there was that, quote, racial ambiguity there, right? Which made it so that they appealed to a much wider and broader demographic, right? Andrew Yang's doing the exact same thing, except for instead of it being racial ambiguity in lingerie models, it's political ambiguity amongst multiple demographic groups of voters. You know, it's odd analogy, I know, but it works. And so his appeal is very, very broad, so much so that it takes out a big chunk of the Venn diagram on both sides and makes it so that he's strong enough that I think people fear that he could actually effectively launch a third party run. I would hope he would, to be honest with you.
It's actually a great point, right? If people thought a third party run would make no sense, no one would ask why he's doing it. So that's really interesting. People actually do think like this guy maybe could go out there. Again, I don't think win, but like shake things up and draw enough people to make a name for himself. Again,
and America needs a third party. Like when the
Do
DNC, oh my gosh, do we need a third party? We could totally change the title of this video and talk about, does America need a third party?
I was about to say,
here in the comments below, guys.
That's another video.
Just
separate video, another day.
I know it's a separate video, a different day, but in the comments below, tell us if we need a strong, responsive, and actually significant third party, not our losertarian friends who can't get above 1% in these elections or 0.5%. We're talking an actual, robust, and competent third party that has slogans like not left, not right, but forward. I really think we could, and I think the
does
DNC
sound like
fears
a third-party
that run.
slogan, doesn't it?
It does sound like a third-party
slogan.
Like, I got to tell you, I think the DNC, look, this is my last analogy. Ethan Smith from ESPN. You like Ethan Smith on ESPN?
I do.
All right. Well, you're always making ESPN reference. Come on, Shannon. You got to know this kind of thing.
It's
all right.
Fox Sports.
Oh, that's Fox Sports. Dang it. Anyway, you're always making sports references. And I loved what Ethan Smith said. I think it was at Brown University where he went.
Hold on.
It's Ethan A. Smith, right?
Sorry. I was wondering for a second there who you were talking about.
Yeah.
Stephen A. Smith.
Oh my gosh. No, I'm an idiot. You're right. Not Ethan A. Smith. I'm sorry. Stephen A. Smith.
I do know who Stephen A. is.
Okay. Yes. Oh my gosh. I said Ethan there like 5 times.
By the way, big fan of Stephen A. Smith. Just signed a huge contract. Congratulations, man. One of the hardest working guys in sports entertainment. All the power to him.
Yeah. So Stephen A. Smith said something awesome at Brown University. And please go look this up. I'm paraphrasing. But he said something really interesting that mirrored something Charles Barkley had said similarly as well. I think it was back in like 2014, 2015, 2016, something like that. He said, the only thing I ask is that anybody who's about to quotes me in my entirety. I think all African Americans should go out tomorrow and vote Republican. And everybody was like, gasp, why? And you heard it in the crowd. And he said, because how can we complain that we are marginalized as a people when we tell the Democrats that don't worry about us? We're going to vote with you 98% of the time, no matter what. So you don't need to court us. And that also tells the Republicans that, hey, you don't even have to worry about us because you're never going to get us. If all of a sudden tomorrow we just shift our votes to the Republicans, all of a sudden they'd start saying, whoa, maybe we need to start trying to work for these people's votes and promise them things and court them as a voting bloc. And we might get more as a people. And maybe that might spur the Democrats into thinking, holy crap, we're going to lose these people if we don't actually provide for them. And then all of a sudden people are competing for our votes instead of both sides neglecting our votes. How can we complain we're marginalized, right? So let's apply that to Andrew Yang, okay? The DNC is only going to try and lock down somebody that they fear. We could actually start a very effective third party if Andrew Yang were to try and do it. I think he's one of the few people in the past 20 years that could launch an independent party that was successful. He did it with Venture for America, so on and so forth, okay? So by signing that document saying, no, don't worry, I won't do a third party run, now all of a sudden the DNC doesn't have to worry about courting you anymore. They don't have to worry about making sure that they give you equal airtime on the stage. They don't think, dude, we got to treat Andrew Yang right and at least give him a fair shot at this nomination because, dude, he might run straight up third party. When you sign that away, you lose leverage on the party. And now the party, they can railroad you. They can shut off your mic. They can tell CNN not to worry about covering you in graphics. They cannot go to bat for you when you make a complaint because you signed that paper.
I gotta push back on that for 1 second. Are you now saying that it's not CNN making editorial decisions to exclude Yang? Excuse me, but it's the DNC giving orders to CNN to exclude?
We know that from the Podesta emails that CNN was literally giving Hillary Clinton the questions before the debate.
You're saying now?
Oh, do you think that stopped overnight?
All I'm saying is
that's
kind
of raw
take. It's a hot take.
Yeah,
I haven't heard it. Hot take.
Then you can hear it here. That kind of rot and corruption, that unholy alliance between the DNC and the mainstream media was not created overnight. And let me tell you, it's not going away overnight. Okay. When the mafia bosses in the 1970s started getting busted, were all of a sudden they just stopping all their bad stuff overnight? No, they weren't. So anyway, I veer verbose. Let's let the audience decide. Please let us know in the comments below what you guys think. Like, share, and subscribe to this video if you haven't had a chance yet. If you want to pick up a Problem Solver Politics hat, check us out on problemsolverpolitics.com and make sure you hang out with us in the Twitch chat, or the Twitch stream, better said, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and follow us on Twitter at PSP Radio 1, or leave us a voicemail at 1-833-PSP-RADIO. We love hearing from you, asking us your questions, and responding to them here on YouTube. This is Problem Solver Politics. We'll see you in the next video.